So I just took the basic colors. I have orange, red, and green, and yellow. Here they are, and then the other two. And they're kind of bright for fall colors. Okay. So what I did is I took a little bit, and so the orange actually isn't too bad. It's still a little bright. It's not too bad. But what I did do, I wanted a fall yellow, like an egg yellow. You can use all white and get your paste food color out, your egg yellow, and you can color it. And then you can have colored hands, which I didn't want to do. So what I did is I took yellow and a teeny tiny little bit of orange. Okay, just a little bit, depending on how big yellow you grab, of course, just a little, and then I kneaded them together, and that will make your egg yellow. Okay? Don't be afraid to mix your fondant colors. You can even add your regular food colors to this to dye it another color. And if you're entering a show, you get more points if you custom your colors.
Ooh.
Just a little tidbit there.
Nice tip.
A little tidbit of information. Because the judges, you know, they look for that. Okay, and then with the orange, what I did was I added just a teeny little bit of red to it to get more of a burnt orange, you know. Okay. And then the red, I added a little bit of blue purple to it. The green, I added a little bit of yellow to it, and I'll go over those again. So right now, this is mostly yellow with just a touch of orange. Okay, so I'll knead these up, and I'll get these out of the way. Actually, I need to see that. Let me move it over here. Hopefully it won't fall in the trash. Okay, I also have a veiner and a large piece of foam. This is just upholstery foam. It's just foam. The reason I have that is because I don't want to put indentations in my fondant. So the trickiest part of this is you actually want your fondant to be rolled the same thickness as your base coating here. So I'm going to take just a little piece off and try not to roll it too thin, which is usually what my problem is. Believe me, if it's rolled a little thin, it's really, you know, unless you're doing it for a show, no one's going to really notice. But that's why I have these guys here. So I don't roll it too thin. It's just a hair thinner than this. If I had, you know, 3/8 inch little guys, then I would be good. So that's about the same thick. It's a little bit thinner than this guy. That's what I rolled that. So, and assuming a little bit of stretch when I covered the cake, that's good. So I'm going to cut out with my biggest cutter.
That's the piece you just colored yourself.
Yeah.
That's the
what I would call egg yellow.
So would I.
Yeah.
Others would also agree.
Okay. We're actually going to use, you know, when you cut, it kind of rounds the fondant a little bit. Well, then you end up with that rounded edge when you put it on here, when you don't want that. So we're actually going to flip it over. So we have that nice sharp edge. Put it on here and press ever so lightly so that we don't round it. Try not to round that edge. It's okay if you do. Because I want veins. Pretty, huh? You see that all right?
Yeah.
And then usually I will use a tiny bit of color. These are edible colors. There's a couple people now that make edible petal dusts now. One is the Sugar Art, and I really like their colors, so I have theirs, and the other is Beth Parvo. So if you're looking for FDA-approved edible food colors, dusts, that's where you get them. This happens to be the Sugar Art, and this is Poppy. I love this color. And you just ever so lightly, because this is wet, it's really going to grab the color. Brush. Okay. You can always add more to get some shading on that, so it'll be nice and pretty. Okay, a little bit on the tips. Okay, so that's a poppy color, and then I have a little bit of red too. That's called Kinko.
Do you get that color at the office supply store?
Sorry, Kiko, not
okay.
Kinko.
Sorry, okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
A little bit of red. So anyway, I don't like flat looking leaves. And I know you really can't see the colors very well on my cake. I didn't photograph very well, but you can see them in person.
So come on down to the YummyArts kitchen and see it live.
Yeah, come on am.
Just don't eat it because it's mine.
Well, that's a dummy. You wouldn't want to
I'll eat that too.
You can eat the styrofoam. No, yum.
But it's real fondant.
Find Michael in the emergency room there. Okay, so now I can see where my indent was. I'm going to go ahead and press in to the cake. Now, this is a real cake, so you've got to press to get through. Okay. And then use a toothpick or whatever you need to pull it off. It's going to pull a little bit of the frosting off with it. Oh, I didn't press that quite hard enough. Make sure you get the tips. I didn't press the tips hard enough. So if you have to, I didn't press the top of it.
Okay.
If you have to, you can use your knife tool to get in there all the way.
So you're actually cutting it out.
Yeah, you cut it out. So basically leaves it, leaves a cutout. And then you're going to take this guy and you're going to put him in. And he's going to go right in. He is a little thick, so I'll have to make sure I roll them thinner next time. Okay, and then I take the Fondant Smoother and I smooth it. This one's a little thick. I should have made it just a little bit thinner because it looks like my fondant might have stretched a little bit more than I thought. So it should lay flush. Parts of it are flush and parts of it aren't. But just use your Fondant Smoother gently because you don't want to erase your veining that you just did.
Go.
Okay.
If you need me to eat the parts that aren't flush, you just let me know.
Okay, so keeping it covered, I'm going to cut out the next part. Now, what I do is I do what I call a base layer, and then I'll come back and do leaves that are on top.